Hi guys! Our video for today, wow. For today's video, ang gagawin natin is susundan natin yung makeup tutorial ng isang vlogger na adikan ko ngayon, si Robert Welsh. Tama ba? Welsh? Welsh'S. Basta, nakita niyo siya sa YouTube. So, bare face tayo ngayon, as you can see. Ang mga bakas ng kahapon, andyan pa. So, ang dami niyang videos. Meron siyang 528 subscribers. So, ang napili kong gawin is, ito talaga, natuwa talaga ako. Kasi, yung mga videos niya, tutorial, tapos bilang makeup artist talaga siya. Yung mga napapansin niya sa TikTok, yan, mga what not to do, at saka what to do. Ang pinaka-favorite ko, medyo old video na to, old but gold video niya, is ito, Cut Crease for Beginners. Meron siyang 83,000 views 1 year ago.
So let's go ahead and learn how to master this cut crease. Okay guys, so first things first, I've kind of done my brow already. So I am using the eye base first, and this is a...
Ayun. So kailangan lagyan ng base yung eyes. Wala akong pang-base na eyes. Base pa lang, problemado na ako. Pwede kaya yun? Hindi ako sure. Pwede kaya to? Maybelline Super Stay Concealer? Let's find out! Ayan, so sabi niya ayusin na daw yung brows. Pero yung brows ko hindi pa magandang kaayos. Pero pasasaan ba't maayos din yan? Pasasaan ba't aayos din yan? Okay. So ang sabi niya, gumamit siya ng primer. Since wala tayong primer, ang susubukan kong gamitin ay concealer. Sana hindi ako mag-mess up. Pero we'll try.
priming potion from Urban Decay. It's one of my favorites because it sets to this waxier texture. So eyeshadow blends really well. There's absolutely no creasing at all. This is not going to crease. You don't have to spend hours patting it in. It's just perfect. It works incredibly well. So I'm just using a flat brush to do this. I'm going to spread it over the whole lid. I'm going to use a thinner concealer brush, and this is the one that we're going to be using to do our cut crease as well. And I'm going to use it to just carve out the brown. So you can see I'm using right the edge. I'm still using the same primer. I'm not adding any.
So dito pa lang, medyo challenge na tayo kasi siguro kung teacher siya, minusan na niya ako kagad. Kasi sabi niya, primer daw ang gamitin. Ang ginamit ko, concealer. Tingnan natin kung gagana, kung parehas nung kanya yung mangyayari. Pero yun. Ang magiging challenge ko dito, dahil concealer yung ginamit ko, it's either mag-iba yung kulay, ilalagay natin na eyeshadow, or dahil nga ang tutorial na ginagawa natin ay cut crease, baka ibang crease ang mangyari.
Okay, so we are using the Lime Crime Venus palette. And I'm taking this shade first, and we're going to take that right through the socket. I have a small blending brush. It's not tapered, anything like that, it's just a very small brush, but I know I can kind of push into the socket and just blend out where I want. So you notice I'm pushing into the socket, going backwards and forwards, and then doing circle blending movements.
Ay siya ng medyo brown. Nung Lime Crime Venus palette. Pero bilang wala tayo niyan, ang gagamitin natin ay FOCALLURE to the tune of Ueno Park. Medyo brown. Akong small blending brush. So baka pwede na to. Medyo small blending brush. So, nilagay niya dun sa eye socket. Wala ako no, hindi malalim yung eye socket ko. Pero dito yung banda, mga kapatid.
Kind of coming in at a slight angle, and I'm holding the brush right at the base there. If you hold the brush further away from the hairs, you're going to get a lighter blend. If you hold it right next to the hair, you're going to get a really kind of firmer, harsher shape.
Paikot daw. Ito yung eye socket. So, maniwala na lang kayo na yan yung eye socket ko. Okay?
Further away.
Clean up brush. Clean up is a breeze. Wala, hindi pantay yung kilay ko. Ayusin na lang natin mamaya. Is mas darker tone.
Okay, now we'll take
Darker tone na reddish. Parang napakapal Hindi ko siya disclaimer ha, hindi ko talaga siya magagaya kasi magkaiba kami ng palette na ginagamit. So parang yung idea lang of putting it sa or incorporating it sa mata. Okay? So brownish yung nilagay natin. Ang next na nilagay is medyo reddish. Hindi pala medyo, red pala talaga.
Okay, now we're taking our next colour, which is this one here. Patting that slightly on the corner of the lid. I'm pushing it into the socket. So that gap between my eye and the brow bone, we're pushing right into there. We are going to take the colour slightly higher because we're doing a cut crease. We kind of want there to be colour above the cut crease. So now I'm blending a little bit. I've just gone slightly over a brow bone. We're not taking this up too high. Blending should take it up higher. So I'm still pushing into that socket and blending. The brush is big enough to blend it upwards, if that makes sense. So I'm not taking any colour up. I run some of that colour underneath the eye as well. And you can see we're creating almost like this triangle, kind of cat's eye shape. Don't worry about being too neat under the eye because we're going to go under there and tidy it up with concealer as well. So now we've applied the colour, let's take that big blending brush, holding it right at the tip there so we get a really soft blend. And then we're just going to go around the whole thing. I'm going around the edges of where I applied the eyeshadow. So think of it as you're smoothing out the edges, you're blurring out the edges, and then just buff gently over the whole thing. Take your time, get that gradual fade. You see I'm still sticking to the brow bone, I'm not taking it any higher. Backwards and forwards and circle motions. When you're doing the circle motions, circle inwards, circle outwards as well. Make sure you're doing both directions, otherwise you get an uneven blend. I feel like that's blended enough for me. If you
So ang next is mas darker pa dito. Mas darker shade pa dito kasi parang yun na yung mag-a-act as the crease. So gagamitin natin si Sushi with using this brush na angled. Actually pati yung brushes ko mali. Diyos ko talaga naman. Try natin. So, sabi niya, lagay daw sa corner ng eye.
Then we will start to blend through the socket. You can see I'm really pushing into that socket. And you see my hand is further up the brush. That's because I want to apply the colour just in that area. I want it to come out really strong, and I want it to come out harsh as well. If I want it to be softer, I'll put my hand further away from the hairs. But I really, really want to push it into that so I can get a strong colour from it. Can you see how dense that's come out compared to the other colours because of where we're holding the brush? I'm still doing the same movements, I'm still going backwards and forwards, doing circles inwards and outwards, but because I'm holding it up, we're getting a really strong heavy colour. Now we can go through with our big blending brush and make sure everything is soft. Not too soft, we want this to be dense. One thing as well I just want to mention to you guys, wherever you put the brush first, after taking some of your colour, remember that's where the most colour payoff is going to come out. So always start from a similar place, otherwise you're going to get a really patchy eyeshadow. Taking some of that colour underneath the eye now. Notice how I'm coming straight forward using the tip of my brush. I'm not coming from underneath, and that's again because I want a really dense colour. If I was to come in from underneath, it will be a little bit softer. So I'm coming in straight forward, building up a little bit of darkness on the outside corner of the lid there as well. We will go back and build this up. I'm going to use my blending brush. I haven't put any colour on this. I'm going to hold it right at the other end so it's soft. And this isn't our big clean blending brush, this is a small one with all the colour build up on it. And I'm just going to go around that brown and soften everything up a little bit and blend that in now. So again, I haven't used any extra eyeshadow on this brush, it's just the eyeshadow from all the times I've used it before. Not like ever in like this look, I mean. And then we're going to go around the edges with that big blending brush. So notice how I'm buffing in all the sides.
Gagamit daw siya ng, ang ginamit niya, brush. Pero bilang low budget tayo, ito na lang gagamitin natin. Pero ang ginamit niya, yung tip daw ay matalas. So, ito kaya gamitin natin. Bahala na si Lord. Bahala na. Tapos, umpisahan daw sa tear duct. Pterodactyls. Ah!
Duct. And I'm going to start to carve out where I want my shape. So I consider my eye is quite hooded, so I'm drawing over the hood bit. So you can see that's not my eyelid, that's higher than my eyelid, but that's what we want. We still want that look of the cut crease when our eyes are open. And I'm coming straight in with a brush. I'm using that very sharp edge, and I'm starting to fill out that inside corner. Start tracing your outline first, bit by bit, and then fill in underneath bit by bit as well. Can you see what I mean there? It's very important to add product onto your brush as you go. You don't want any concealer to dry out because then you're going to get this feathery look. See how now I've carved out that shape? And we want that to end where the side, oh, let me look forward. We want that to end where the side of our pupil is. Can you see? So my eyes are open and you can still see it. So let's start to shade in all that area there. Start to tidy up where we've carved out. I've never left my skin when I'm carving out that side shape. My brush is constantly touching my eye and I'm going backwards and forwards and almost like in little feathery movements carving out that shape. If you lift your brush off away from the eye, you're not going to be able to put your brush down exactly where you were. So if that makes sense, it's important to keep it on the skin and do feathery backwards and forwards movements like this. So we're just going to make everything a little bit more intense by building up that concealer another layer. Taking it right up to the edges where I made that shape. You're going to want to keep changing that shape, but just add it gradually, don't take it too high, be patient with it. And you can see at the edge there, you can see all the eyeshadow that we did before, the brown and the red, are just creating a really nice shadow around that cut crease. Now see how I've taken that tail out slightly, very slightly longer than the actual cut crease itself, or the actual bit that we've shaded in. Okay, so now we're going to take a clean brush, like a flat, real hair brush, and we're going to blend it outwards. Always blend it outwards. We want to fade that colour out, not take any in. So very gently and really light, feathery hand movements. I'm tapping the rest of the base in, and as I get towards the outside of the cut crease, towards the darker end, I'm going to bring all that outwards. So we get that kind of smoky, almost like you're buffing out a smoky eye. So now let's take a highlight colour. This is just a lighter tone than everything else, and we're going to pat onto the lid. Never wipe. Pat right onto that whole area where we've created that cut crease. So on every bit that's a little bit lighter. I like to go around the edges first, so I make sure I get really close to it. Be very careful, you don't want to go over that white line, you just want to keep it all in on the inside. Sorry, I'm getting really like, I'm talking too much. So let's take that second colour we used, that kind of warmer red tone, one you can kind of see more around the edges. And you see how the white goes straight down? We want to go diagonally across the lid with this red. So tapping very gently, we're going to make almost like this slope. Notice how I'm taking the colour outwards and I'm not taking any in. We're blending that brush out, 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 out. That helps it fade a little bit more rather than having like rigid lines. Now let's take that darker colour, the dark brown, and just build that up in the outside corner. Similar shape, we're going to do that kind of slope shape on the outside corner. Sorry, I keep looking down at the screen in this. There you go, building up, tapping, tapping, tapping. Making it a little bit darker under the eye. I forgot what that word was. And see how I'm coming straight in again? I'm taking it right up into that inside corner, so there's no kind of gap between the light and skin. We want that light a bit to fade in. I'm taking our big bending brush and just going around all the edges just to tie it all up. I'm taking concealer now. And I'm not taking it right up to the eye, I'm kind of going around in the shape that we want to make, because we're going to blend this with our finger as well. So I'm really making it into that nice kind of cat's eye shape. Same with the inside corner, I'm starting a little bit higher with that. Just try not to go over the eyeshadow as much as you can, because we still want it to blend. Try and get a nice crisp line. There obviously will be a few little bits that go a little bit over. I'm now just going to blend this in with my finger, my ring finger, because it applies less pressure. So the same finger you use to kind of apply eye cream. And I'm just tapping, 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 tapping. Don't wipe, always pat and tap. If you wipe, you're removing product away, you're taking product and moving from where you want it. If you're tapping it, you're just tapping it into exactly where you want it. Let's take that blending brush again, go right underneath, almost like you're going round the bottom of the eyeball, and you get that nice fade back into the skin. I'm just adding a little bit of that colour because I think it dips down in the corner there. Tiny little bit. All good. No, I'm going in with more. Oh, I just wiped it on my hand to clean it, and then I was just going over with the brush to blend it out, make it softer. The one thing I like to do when I'm doing a cut crease is to put a bright gel liner on the waterline. I'm using the yellow gel liner here with an angle brush. And notice how I'm using my little finger to kind of just tug gently on the skin under the eye, just to pull that waterline right down. And I'm just tapping, again with the tapping. Be very careful if you're wearing contacts like I am here, liquid liner can kind of grip to it a little bit and it's difficult to take off. But this just adds that bright pop of colour. You could also go in with a black or a brown or a red or whatever you want to do to kind of tie it all in together. I just really like the yellow against red. And there we have our perfect cut crease, nice and easy, step by step.
And here is the final look. Meron akong 3 key takeaways para sa video na to or para sa tutorial na to. Number 1, ang galing ni Robert, ni Mama Robert magturo para sa isang aspiring makeup artist. Nakakatulong talaga yung mga ganitong tutorials para may mga tips and hints ka na malalaman if ever you'll be applying sa makeup on sa iyong mukha or if in the future gusto mong magkaroon ng client. Number 2, natutunan ko na kailangan talaga, it is really important for you to know your skin color. Know and understand your skin color. Ang alam ko, ang mga Asian is yellow tone or warm tone, yellow undertone or warm tone, something like that. Kaya there are some colors na kapag maganda siya sa palette, pero pag nilagay mo sa mukha kasi may foundation na and all, tas dahil yellow undertone ka, iba yung kulay na lumalabas. So, hindi kasi ako nakinig. Sorry. Hindi kasi ako nakinig. Hindi naman pala sa hindi ako nakinig. Wala lang talaga akong primer. Wala akong primer as a base. So, ang ginamit ko na base ay concealer. It is really important para maglagay ka ng base kasi nga it would really set yung kulay na ilalagay mo sa eyes mo or yung eyeshadow na ilalagay mo. Talagang magpa-pop yung color. Unlike pag concealer ang nilagay mo, syempre magbe-blend ngayon. Magbe-blend ngayon yung color dun sa concealer na nilagay mo. So, hindi for me, sa tingin ko, okay naman. Yun nga lang, hindi masyadong nagpa-pop yung kulay. Hindi nagpa-pop yung kulay. Number 3, it is really important na meron ka ng mga tamang brush and alam mo kung saan sila gagamitin. For now kasi, kulang pa yung mga brushes ko. Although, I'm working on it naman na. Pero, syempre, hindi naman lahat ng tao kompleto yung brushes. So, you have to work with what you have. You have to work with what... Basta, yun, mamaluktot kapag maiksi ang kumot. Yun na lang. If you guys like... Ano ba? Yung buhok. Kung nagustuhan nyo yung video na to, as much as I did, click on the like button and subscribe ka na rin sa channel ko. And click mo yung notification bell para updated ka sa mga future videos ko. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on my next video. If nagustuhan mo ang video na to as much as I did, click mo na yung like button at subscribe ka na din sa channel ko. Click mo na rin yung bell button para naman updated ka sa mga future videos ko. Thank you so much guys for watching and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!